Our third phase tonight, of course, is our Sheriff's Department. I've just reminded each of them, we do have the 1 minute time straight ahead. And we're at 7:30. I think we did good on that last one. I think we did good. We had a lot of people there. Did we do good? We did, right? I mean, it was good pacing, so we'll do the same thing here. So here we go. Keith Wood, my friend, let's start off with where you starting your introduction.
Yeah, we'll start down there with Eric. 1 minute for an introduction.
2 minute introduction?
1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. All right. Lord. So I was born here on Eglin Air Force Base. My father was a young pilot that was training here on Eglin. My mom was a school teacher here at Shalimar Elementary for 25 years. My brother and I grew up here in the school system. You know, I was going to Florida State because I had an early dream to become the sheriff one day. Didn't know exactly how to make that happen, but I knew Florida State had the greatest criminology program in the country. And even though I'm a big Auburn fan, I decided to go to Florida State. And I did, and I was in my junior year and did an internship at the sheriff's office. I kind of had the idea that I'd go to the feds and work there, and I had some opportunities to work there. But it was not until I interned with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office junior year of my in college that I fell in love with it. And my mom said, "Don't you want to stay, honey, and go to law school and I'll take care of it?" I said, "Oh, heck no. I want to come back and make $17,000 a year as a deputy sheriff," and that's exactly what I did. I guess I'm out of time, so I got about a third of the way through.
You got a 2 minute close. Don't forget that. Next up.
Ronald.
Well, hey, appreciate y'all sticking around. My name's Ron Livingston. I've been with the Florida Highway Patrol for 32 years. Out of that 32 years, 20 years I've been in a supervisor role. I've been an instructor for about 25 years. I've got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration. Talking about family, I wasn't born and raised here, but I'm a third generation state trooper. My grandfather was a trooper in Okaloosa County, became an Okaloosa County judge. My dad was born and raised in Okaloosa County. He became a trooper. So I guess it's kind of in the blood. That's all I know. Being a public servant is what I've done for 32 years. I've done it for the state of Florida. Now I want to do it for Okaloosa County. So I hope y'all look at my website, look into me, call me. Be interested to talk to you. Thank you.
Mr. Perillo.
My name's Eddie Perillo. I was born and raised here. The biggest move in life was from Marietta to Fort Walton. My family owned the first restaurant here in town, owned and operated it till a couple years ago. Got a lovely wife, 2 amazing boys. I graduated Fort Walton Beach High School, worked at Fort Walton PD, then went on to Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, took an early retirement, been here ever since, very interested in being the sheriff of Okaloosa County, making a few changes, and being here, doing positive things. Thank you.
All right, Keith Wood, get us started.
Yeah, we'll start with you, Ronald. In light of recent high-profile events involving sheriff's deputies, what steps should the department take to mitigate community concerns?
You know, I think that one of the biggest issues is you know, I've been in training for, like I said, about 20 plus years, almost 25 years. And out of that, I have been focused on firearms training is one of my biggest disciplines that I teach. And I think that the biggest issue is training. I think we need to focus on training. We got the state-of-the-art facility right up here in Crestview, and I think we need to use it. You know, the society that we live in, we never know what tomorrow is going to bring. We don't know if there's going to be an active shooter in Crestview, which God knows we don't ever want, or in Fort Walton Beach. Why aren't we training amongst every agency in this county to focus to make sure that we don't have the issues that we've had in the past? As the next sheriff, I will make sure that we focus on what we need to focus on as far as training to make sure that we're the top of the line agency in the state of Florida.
Thank you. Eddie?
Repeat that question, please.
In light of recent high-profile events involving sheriff's deputies, what steps should the department take to mitigate community concerns?
Basically, better training or more training. accessible to the people, to hear their issues, how they feel, to make them feel safe and know that they're going to be protected for what, no matter who they are.
Thank you. Eric, to you, and I'll switch it up just a hair from should to have, if you'd like to answer that. In light of recent high-profile events involving sheriff's deputies, what steps have or should the department take to mitigate community concerns?
I could go for 10 minutes on this, but I'll just say that our agency is a model agency for training. My opponents are going to say they want to do intensive training. The state requires once every 4 years that you review your policies, you focus on less lethal training, you do firearms training, and you do psychological and defensive tactics training. So that's once every 4 years. We do that every year, so 4 times what the state requires. We also have what's called the RIGHT training, which was racial intelligence training and education. We do de-escalation training. Everybody in our agency goes through the CIT training, which focuses on dealing with people with mental challenges or substance abuse challenges. It also deals with critical incidents. We do a mandatory for all of our supervisors to do mandatory critical incident management training. And I'll just say this, we have a $5 million facility. My predecessor, it was his passion with the half-cent sales tax to build that. And all agencies, to include municipal, county, and state, and federal agencies, train at our facility.
Thank you.
You're on a roll, Ben.
Yeah. We'll stay with you, Eric. What are the biggest challenges facing the department?
Oh, by far, well, since Adam and Eve, domestic violence is just always going to be there. But the biggest challenges that we face right now from a law enforcement standpoint is the opioid crisis, the fentanyl crisis. It's coming across the border in massive amounts. We're killing more people in our communities, and we're working with the Department of Health and with an initiative Chief Beige and I and some other municipal police chiefs started around the county. We are working with trying to do something that's different than hardly anybody else does, and that's we're going to, within 24 hours, we're going to send a law enforcement officer and someone from the mental health department to go out and try to offer resources to these people that are overdosing. And the statistics show that it's roughly about 30% that those people do not overdose if they're given those opportunities within 24 to 48 hours.
Thank you. Eddie, biggest challenges facing the department?
Probably the drugs and obviously regaining the trust within the community. I think the department has lost trust recently or over the last couple of years because of incidents. But if you're talking about crisis like drugs and stuff like that, we need to crack down. I think we need more deputies on the road, more specialized units, community policing to help with all that. That's it.
Thank you. Ronald?
Good question. So there's a lot facing us. Manpower being one of them. I'm out here on the road every day. I run into these deputies. I talk to them. A lot of them are friends. But manpower. And one of the biggest issues is at the gas pumps, I see Santa Rosa County deputies. I see Walton County deputies. And they all live in Okaloosa County. So why aren't they working for Okaloosa? Why are they going to our neighboring counties? One, we obviously need to focus on the money. We need to focus on the deputies. Make sure that we retain our talent that we got. Make sure we focus on them, focus on their upward momentum. Make sure that they're taken care of. And if there's an investigation that's done, make sure it's done thoroughly. The second thing is drugs, which I'm out of time.
Eddie, we'll come back to you on this one. Last August, the State Attorney General announced that Circuit 1, which encompasses Escambia and Walton County, had the highest opioid death rate per capita in the state. What do you see as the role of the Sheriff's Office in combating the opioid epidemic, and what agencies and/or stakeholders could the department partner with to accomplish that?
Need to come up with programs and bring in more of the agencies like the ATF and the marshals to help crack down and figure out how the drugs are getting in here. Crack down on the people that are bringing the drugs and make sure they go to jail. Stop the influx of it and the people that are using the drugs that are killing themselves. Help them get off of it or come up with programs.
Thank you. Eric?
Me?
Yes, sir.
What's the question, sir? Same one?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of answered that before. We're working with Chief Beige and all the municipalities and the health department. We've already put that initiative together. We're already working on it actively, and so it's going to be rolling out here real soon. And so I'm grateful for the chief and the other chiefs that agreed to do this. And it's an incredible thing that I'm anxious to see the numbers. But while we're talking about it, I guess I've got 40 seconds to burn. I'll say that, you know, building trust is something I've done my whole life. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't build relationships. And I think that if you have any question about the trust and transparency, I think anyone involved in any of the incidents that you've heard about, there's 980,000 contacts with our citizens. And those citizens will tell you, thank you for what you do. We appreciate what you do. There was only one person on this earth that was created that was perfect, and he's been dead for nearly 2,000 years.
Thank you. Ronald?
Good question. You know, living in the north end of the county, I see it every day. Just spoke to a gentleman the other day that lost his daughter about a month ago from fentanyl. You know, it's a devastating issue that we're going to constantly have to focus on. But there's plenty of plans out there. You know, there's state agencies, there's county agencies, there's city agencies, and we've got to focus and get every agency to work together. That goes back to my point of there's a phenomenal training center in Crestview. Why isn't every agency out there? You know, why aren't we focusing on everybody? Get everybody at the table. Because everybody's got the same issues. Fort Walton's got the issues. Crestview's got it. Niceville's got it. We all need to be sitting at the round table. We need to be coming up with what plan are we going to take to fix it. And then we need to make sure that we have a zero policy, that if we catch you, we're going to put you in jail. And that needs to be focus number one and put out into the community and stick with it.
Here we go. You've mentioned, several of you mentioned the collaboration with municipalities, and I'd like to know, how would you collaborate with our municipalities? And would you be willing to sign a strong mutual aid agreement with each? How would you collaborate with our municipalities, and would you be willing to sign a strong mutual aid agreement with each? Starting with you, Ron.
The answer to that question is yes. It takes everybody to make us successful. The sheriff's office isn't going to be successful on its own. Niceville PD is not going to be successful on their own. Crestview is not going to be successful on their own. It takes every municipality to work together. So to answer your question, yes, I would have no issues doing an MOU with each one. I want them all. I want everybody to be on the same playing field. I want everybody to be together. So, you know, annually, let's sit down, not even annually, quarterly, every agency sit down together and help each other. That's how only way we're going to be successful. The problem lies of it is, and this is what I hear over and over and over again, and I don't have much time. What I hear over and over again is well, we don't want to play with this agency because we're afraid this agency is going to steal our officers from this agency. Listen, at the end of the day, if every municipality does what they have to do to help keep the salaries high for that agency, then we shouldn't have that issue. But we shouldn't be, sorry, I'm out of time.
All right. Eric Aden, you question, how would you collaborate with our municipalities, and would you be willing to sign a strong mutual aid agreement?
That's something we already do. We sign mutual aid agreements with we have 9 municipalities in this county. Some we offer and contract for law enforcement services, while others we sign a mutual aid agreement. We work very well with our municipalities from Crestview, Valpy, Niceville, and we've never had an issue with that. And so certainly I've signed them. My predecessor signed them. We work very well with them. I'll also say, because I got some time to say it, is our violent crime has been reduced by 26%. That's something that needs to not fall short on the public here. You talk about people, why they're not living here. Why they're not living here, I don't know where these deputies that are living in other counties that are living here are, but our deputies can't afford to live in this county. You already heard everything from the county commissioners talking about workforce housing. We have got to fix that because we have deputies living in Milton, Defuniak, Alabama, and making that commute, and it's terrible. So we have to do something about workforce housing.
Eddie Perillo, back to the original question, sir. How would you collaborate with our municipalities, and would you be willing to sign a strong mutual aid agreement?
Absolutely. Everybody works together to get the same job done. Just because you work at a different department, you're in law enforcement, you want the same job done. Everybody works together as a team. You get more done.
All right, then Keith Wood.
Yeah, we'll start down there with you, Eric. How does Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department stay competitive in hiring in this area?
Simple. Pay and benefits. We have the best insurance. Thanks to our county commission to supporting our funding for our law enforcement, we have the most competitive wage. We have the lowest vacancy rate. The state of Florida has an average of 7% vacancy rate. We have a 4% vacancy rate. I could go on and on with our numbers, but it's because we offer a competitive wage, and even that precludes them and prohibits them from being able to live in our county. But they still want to work here, so they make that commute. But that's the biggest thing. We offer the best equipment, best training, and we have a state-of-the-art facility. Otherwise, state agencies wouldn't train at our facility. And so we have the best training. We have 190 years of training alone in our training department. We have 274 years of law enforcement experience in our training division. So we go through accreditation every 3 years. They go through our use of force policies. We met all 10 mandatory standards and 22 of those recommended standards. We hit all of them, and we'll be up for reaccreditation next year.
Thank you. Ronald?
Good question. There's several ways. One is I think if we take care of our people, the word will get out. That this is a great agency to come to work for one. Two is obviously we need to work on the pay. We need to be comparable to the other agencies on either side of us. Santa Rosa, Walton County's getting pay increases. Matter of fact, they got one coming here pretty soon. So, I mean, if you look at our neighbors, we should be by far above both of them. The state's constantly giving pay raises. Okaloosa County needs to. And the answer to your question is I know many people that are living right here that are working in the neighboring counties. The second thing is we need to focus on our training. And, you know, that was what was brought up earlier was there's 200 and something years. There's some phenomenal trainers out there. Phenomenal trainers out there. I see them every time I go to the range. And would love to keep that relationship going.
Thank you. Eddie?
See, that's me again.
How does the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department stay competitive in hiring in this area?
Obviously, the pay, the work environment's good, but people tend to keep leaving for some reason. You keep more deputies on the road, so they're not spread out as bad, so they get help, they get relief, which will add more trust and more contact with the community once they're out there.
Want to do that one? All right. So this is for everyone. Besides the opioid epidemic, what are the most pressing public safety concerns in our county, and how would you address them? And who are you working with to collaborate on potential solutions? Melissa, who's going first?
Ron, please.
All right.
Ron, please.
Say me?
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't hear you. So I think we got several issues in the county. Obviously, traffic is one of the biggest issues, and you know, I think it's going to be a conglomeration of every agency, you know, in the county. One of our other issues is making sure that our deputies are taken care of, and by doing that, making sure that we're taking care of the road deputies. Obviously, the command staff, they're there to support the road deputies. So I think if we can put our focus where the focus needs to be, we'll attract what we need to attract. But, you know, outside of the drug issue, our traffic issue is what it is. I mean, I don't see it changing anywhere in the near future in the years to come. But that's where I believe our main focus needs to be, is where the rubber meets the road, where the deputies are out there doing the job day in, day out.
Who's next? Eddie?
Eddie, please.
Eddie, same question, my friend. Besides the opioid epidemic, what are the most pressing public safety concerns in our county? How would you address them, and who are you working with to collaborate on potential solutions?
I think a pressing issue is regaining the trust of the community, where they feel safe to come up to the deputies and speak to them. And the deputies learn to listen to them and listen to their concerns. But if the citizens feel like they can approach the deputy and express their concerns about situations in their neighborhood, it protects the deputy because they know about stuff, and it protects the neighborhood and the citizens.
Eric Aden, same question, sir.
Well, the moral fabric in our society is broken. So, I mean, the first thing we need to do is it starts in the home. We need to be able to teach respect. We need to teach our children better, because what we're seeing is a non-value of human life out there. And so we have seen but with the technology that we've brought, we've been able to see a reduction in violent crime. Again, I think it's important to note that we've dropped our violent crime from 4,005 in 2022 to 2,808, which is a 26% drop in crime. And if you consider the crime that we had in 2020, before I took office that year, we are actually at 35% drop in violent crime. But we have to do better with working with. We have other issues besides the opioid epidemic. To answer your question, we have mental health challenges out there. We're a society of veterans that have been out there fighting downrange for our freedoms. Some of them have come back. The VA does a great job, but we still have PTSD within our community, and we've got to get help with the mental health challenges. And we have problems with homelessness, and we're working with One Hopeful Place, and with the mental health, we've got one of our majors that sits on the board for Bridgeway. So I'm out of time.
Keith Wood.
Eddie, with the signing of the unauthorized public camping, public sleeping law, what are the potential implications for the Sheriff's Department in enforcing this law?
Well, if they're on public property, then it's up to they can enforce it. Or private property, that you can't just camp wherever you want. So there has to be like procedures or help, like Salvation Army, utilize stuff like that to help these people get off the streets.
Thank you. Ronald?
I think so.
Well, the governor just passed a law here that goes in effect, July 1 for the swatting. So, I mean, that's going to help out quite a bit, because up in the north end of the county, we have several issues where people are living on private property. They're up underneath the overpass at the interstate at 85 and I-10. So, we have several places throughout the county that are homeless shelters, but they need help. They need tremendous help. They need monetary help. And, we have a lot of veterans here that are homeless that we need to try to get them placement. They've done what, they've gone out there and protected our country. They gave us the freedom that we've got. So we need to be out there helping them and doing the best that we can do for them. So I'll do anything to help any homeless shelter, raise money, whatever awareness we need to do to find these people a good place to live.
Eric?
Can you say the question is, what is it?
Yep. With the signing of the unauthorized public camping, public sleeping law, what are the potential implications for the Sheriff's Department in enforcing this law?
What's interesting about our area is we're so bifurcated with Eglin. We have concurrent jurisdiction, exclusionary jurisdiction, proprietary jurisdictions, whether you're on Hurlburt, whether you're on Eglin, whether you're on the range, whether you're on Eglin, Maine. All these things are different depending on where you're at. And to be homeless in and of itself is not a crime. And some people choose to be homeless. So we work with One Hopeful Place. It's actually a city-owned property, correct, over there in the mainly unincorporated area. We work with them. In addition to that, we've had to work with Hurlburt and Eglin and the Eglin security forces, because they can only do so much with citizens that are trespassing, and they have really a tough time getting that prosecuted through their magistrate. So we're working with them on procedures and processes to be able to, when people are sleeping on Eglin property, what we can do. Of course, the private property, anybody knows if you're trespassing on private property, we can take action. So we are working with them, with all of those entities, the homeless shelters, but a lot of those people don't just stay at One Hopeful Place. They're dispersed throughout our county, as the opponent said. They're everywhere. It's a huge problem across the country.
No doubt, my friends. What is, this is for, starting with Eddie, I guess, right, Melissa? Yeah. What is your plan for ensuring that the SRO program is staffed with highly qualified and dedicated officers? And how would you address any recruitment or retention challenges? Starting with Eddie.
The SRO program is very valuable, and a lot of people want to be in it. Just keep up their training, send them to schools, make sure they're active and very vigilant in their school.
We'll jump down to Eric Aden on the next one, sir.
Well, do I get Eddie's time? Okay, you start me over. So, no, I was a SRO in 97, 98. I was one of the first SROs to go into the schools. It was one of the most, to be honest, at that time, people didn't really know what SROs were supposed to do. The principals didn't know, the teachers. I remember having the same cafeteria lady that gave me my 25-cent milkshake say, "You have a gun on." I said, "Yeah, I got a badge too. That's my job." Well, then I got to learn that I could mentor with children. It is the biggest, it's the largest division we have, and as far as their training, it's the highest trained division in our agency short of our SRT program. And we reward them because they don't get shift differential, but it's not, a lot of people go into that thinking it's an 8 to 5 job, 7 to 4 job. It's not. Those folks are going to school at 6 o'clock in the morning and they're at a ball game till 10 o'clock at night. We try to reward them to try and entice them to come into the SRO program. We give them a 3% stipend over and above their salary. And by the way, look up the salaries. We're the highest paid agency around.
Ron, same question, my friend.
You know, I think the SRO program is a phenomenal program. Probably over the last 20 years, I've been doing DUI mock crashes, and I've gone to high schools and talked to kids. And during that time frame, I've met a lot of school resource officers, phenomenal people. And as young as I might look, you know, I've got a 9-year-old that I acquired several years ago through adoption, and he goes to an elementary school in Christie. And I have yet to see the same SRO at that school for any lengthy period of time. Every time I go through the drop-off line there's a different SRO there. So I say that to say this: we obviously need to make sure that we focus on people that want to be in that program. It's a phenomenal program. It's touching kids and letting them know what law enforcement's about. And I know a lot of SROs in Okaloosa County. I've been able to talk to a lot of them. A lot of them enjoy their job and what they're able to touch and the families that they're able to touch. So I'm 110% supportive of the SRO program and want to see it successful.
Keith Wood.
Eric, how do we address the overcrowding of the jail?
Oh my Lord. They need a jail something fierce. You know, I know that's not falls under me. There's 7 or 8 jails that do not fall under the sheriff around the state, but not only am I good friends with Nolan Weeks, the director of the jail, but also he was a product of the sheriff's office like me, came up through the sheriff's office, and he's doing a wonderful job with what he has, but I toured that facility. I mean, Shawshank Redemption looks better than our jail. And it is a very, very scary place, and I understand it's not about that we want to make things great for inmates, but they're people too, and most of the people that come into that facility for a crime are committing minor crimes. Now, we do house some major violent criminals, I mean, for at least a short period of time before they go to prison, but most of those are in for non-violent crimes. Maybe it's drugs, whatever the case may be, but it's more so to provide a good, safe place and a comfortable environment for these first first responders that are working in the correction field, and we really need to do something about it.
Thanks. Ronald?
Me? Yes. It's horrible. So I've been in there multiple times, and you know, probably the last 5 or 6 times I've been in there, I've gone in there to actually interview inmates. And You know, you look up at the ceiling and you see water stains and, you know, I mean, that place is sitting on a marsh pit. I mean, I can only imagine. I feel the floor like sinking up underneath my feet as I walk inside the jail. You know, my hat's off to Nolan Weeks. You know, I know anybody that works in that jail has got to be concerned. But, I mean, it is what it is. And listen, I support a new jail. It's going to cost money. I mean, my hat's off to the Board of County Commissioners for them coming up with a plan of how they're going to replace it. But you know, as my opponent said, hey, these people that are in that jail are humans, and they deserve to be treated with some sort of dignity. So they need to do something with it.
Thank you. Eddie?
We need a new jail. But I agree. It's been a long time since I've been in there, dropping somebody off when I was at work. But it definitely needs a new jail. From what I understand, the kitchen just started working again. It was out for so long. The conditions are horrible. It's overcrowded. A lot of those people aren't even convicted yet. They're just waiting for court. So some might get found not guilty, but then they're living in these kind of conditions during their period of waiting for court. They deserve better, but the county and the corrections officers and Nolan Weeks, they all need a better work environment to work in. So yes, definitely need a new jail.
Here we go. Gentlemen, thank you for that. It's now time for our 2-minute close. Each person has 2 minutes to summarize your talents and why you should be selected sheriff. Who goes first, Melissa?
Ron, please.
Ron, all right. Ron Livingston, please, your 2-minute close, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man. So my name's Ron Livingston. Obviously, like I told you earlier, I spent 32 years in law enforcement. I've been a public servant for the state of Florida for the last 32 years. I've only worked in one agency, and that was the Florida Highway Patrol. I've been a supervisor for over 25 years of that 32 years. With that being said, I've been a instructor for over 20 plus years in every discipline of law enforcement. I'm a third-generation law enforcement officer. It's in my blood. That's all I know. And I want to bring my leadership style to Okaloosa County. I want to focus right here at home. I focused all over the state of Florida, but I want to focus here. I want to bring the trust of the deputies. I want to retain the trust. I want to retain the good talent that we have here, not drive the people to the next counties or to another agency. I want to enhance the training that's going on, not do the minimum for the state of Florida. You know, the state of Florida requires us to do so much training every 4 years, like my opponent said, but that's not what I want. I want to focus on what saves the lives of the deputies, what saves the lives of the community. The community that we live in and the world we live in, I know because I'm out here where the rubber meets the road. I work with these deputies every day. I work with every city police officer in Okaloosa County, deputies, Walton and Santa Rosa. I know what they tell me. So I want to enhance that training. I want to make sure that the transparency, I want to lead from the front, not lead from the rear. So I ask you, please look at my website, ronlivingstonforsheriff.com. My number's on there. Feel free to give me a call. I answer it. Thank you very much. Thanks for your attendance.
All right. Edward Perillo. 2-minute recap, my friend.
Okay, my name's Edward Perillo. I've been here all my life. Obviously, I care about this community and care what happens. Care about the trust, be an active sheriff, transparency, have an open door policy to the public where they can come in maybe once a month, have a coffee meeting with the sheriff. They can give their concerns and come up with the answer to it. If we don't have it right then, the next meeting. And that means I'll be at these meetings, not my higher-ups, my command staff. You know, regain the trust of the community. Come up with, years ago, there was like organized units like street crimes, community policing, traffic unit, bring those back. That helps the community and regains the trust of the community. Plus, it helps the deputies on the road with their work. Relieves a lot of stress. Plus, you see more law enforcement on the road, more deterrent it's going to be. That's it.
All right, Eric Aden, 2-minute closing,
All right,
sir.
I'll finish with, so I went to Florida State and came home and I started as a deputy sheriff and I worked my way up in every rank of the sheriff's office from sergeant to lieutenant to captain to major and I touched everything that the sheriff's office has, even my last role as the administrative major. Before becoming administrative major, I was chosen to go to the FBI National Academy where I received a criminal justice graduate certificate in criminal justice from the University of Virginia. So I came back and I ran. It was the first unopposed race for sheriff in the history of our county. I was unopposed until right before the deadline for this race as well, and now I've got 2 opponents, which is fine. But here's what I want to say to you. You know, it's easy to steer a ship in calm waters. It's a lot harder for any of you captains that have ever driven a boat to ride through rough waters. And I can tell you, I'm real proud of our agency. I'm real proud of our community. We are a community of diversity and harmony. And the transparency, I mean, come on. Why don't you take a look at voteaden.com. Look at the list of endorsements that I have. Look at the different demographics of those endorsements and see who has endorsed me to run. If I haven't proven anything, it's been transparency, integrity, and accountability. And when I first became the sheriff, the first meeting I had was the NAACP, and I said, if anything ever happens, give me the opportunity to prove that I'm not trustworthy, accountable, and transparent. And that's why I have their support. And I will tell you this too. Randy Nelson, he's a doctor of relationship building. And he went to the FSA the other day, and the president of the FSA called me and said, you know, he said, I studied that sheriff in Okaloosa County. He said, that guy is an absolute model, and their agency is a model for being able to go through a crisis calmly. And I will tell you, it's not just me. It's the 500 men and women that put their lives on the line for you and your public safety every day. VoteAden.com, August 20th.
All righty then. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very kindly for helping out here today. I want to thank Rochelle and Seth for helping set up, Bob Levinson for the sound, RJ Murdoch for the video, and our friends from ECAR, Melissa and Keith Wood.
Thank you.
Hey, I get to see you.